Chapter 18. Chase Ambrose. It is the finding of this court that the three juveniles, Chase Matthew Ambrose, Aaron Joshua Hakimian, and Stephen Beresford Brodsky, acted recklessly and with malice, not merely destroying property, but creating chaotic circumstances that could have endangered the public safety. Further, this is not an isolated incident. It is part of a pattern of intimidation and misbehavior toward others. Therefore, it is this court's decision that the aforementioned juveniles perform community service until such time as their caseworker concludes that this destructive behavior has been corrected. Hi, Chase. When the hand grasps my shoulder, I practically jump out of my skin, scaring poor Brendan halfway back to the breakfast line in the cafeteria. My head has been spinning all morning. Dad asked for my birth certificate so he could set up the appointment with Dr. Wynne. I finally found it in Mom's desk. But that's not all I found. I also stumbled on a copy of the court paper sentencing Aaron Bear and me to community service. What's wrong? Brendan asks in concern. You look like you've just seen the zombie apocalypse and it's coming this way. How can I explain it? It may not be the zombie apocalypse, but it's just as creepy. The judge's words have been burning themselves into my brain. Pattern of intimidation, zero remorse, pathway to criminality if left unchecked. I didn't realize how bad it was. Oh, sure, the flashbacks keep coming. I remember the wide berth kids gave me when I got back to school after the accident, and continue to give me to this day. The general sentiment that Hiawassee Middle School, and maybe the whole world, would be a better place without me. I'm a pretty heavy presence here, and since I've done nothing in my new life to earn that reputation, it's safe to say that it comes from the secret history amnesia erased, from the 13 years before I fell off the roof. Up until a couple of weeks ago, my 4-year-old half-sister treated me like a Sasquatch that wandered into her life, an unpredictable and dangerous beast. And her mother, an adult, wasn't much more comfortable around me. Aaron and Bear aren't exactly choir boys, so it's safe to assume I wasn't either. But in spite of the rough way they treat other people, they always have my back. That's loyalty, a good quality. Isn't it? I close my eyes and see the empty velvet case from Mr. Solway's closet. Brendan, how bad was I? I blurt. An English muffin rolls off his tray and hits the floor. What are you talking about? He stammers. Leaf Man never could have happened if it wasn't for you. I mean before, I press. The old Chase. Who cares? He insists. You were really different then. I know I was different. Different how? Did I ever do anything to you? After a long silence, Brendan runs a finger across his right eyebrow. When I look close, I realize there's a scar there, partly hidden, about half an inch long. My heart leaps into my throat. I did that? I was leaning over the drinking fountain. You came by and shoved me in the back of the head. 3 stitches. Brendan. My voice is husky. I'm so sorry. You know the worst part? He goes on. You just kept walking. You never even bothered to turn around. No follow-up. That's how nothing it was. That's how nothing I was. I can't speak. I think of Aaron and Bear, our loyalty. It kind of doesn't mean as much as I thought it did. Anyway, Brendan tells me, like I said, you're different now. I'll catch you later in video club. I watch him walk away. I don't know what I'm so broken up about. I haven't learned anything new today, not really. The stuff in the court document? Old news. I smell it in every corner of this school. And even if I needed confirmation, it's right there in Joel Weber's eyes. Fear. real fear. It hits me that no matter how different I am, no matter how much the video club accepts me, or even Shoshana does, I'll never be able to erase the Chase Ambrose who could strike terror in an innocent kid's heart. Aaron Bear and I must have been no strangers to that look when we were turning Joel's life upside down. I guess having the power to torture another person made us feel like big men, especially when we picked somebody smaller and weaker who was into music instead of sports. And believe it or not, right now I'm more scared of Joel than he ever was of me. Because if I see that fear in his face again, I don't know if I can handle it. In spite of all that, Shoshana and I are getting along better every day. She doesn't hold it against me that her brother thinks I'm the devil. Maybe the turning point was when we were in heaven on ice together, and she didn't feel the need to dump a giant sundae on my head. The important thing is, we're good. She's promoted me to full co-creator of our video project on Mr. Solway, which is well into the editing stage. It's coming out fantastic. Editing has been tough since we have so much great footage. It's practically painful to decide what to cut. We even argue about it, sometimes change each other's minds. It's a real partnership. Although we're done shooting, we still visit Mr. Solway a lot. On the way, Shoshana stops at her house to back up our project on her computer. She's really paranoid that the school network will crash and we'll lose our edited footage. So she's constantly saving everything on a memory stick. It goes without saying that I'm not allowed into the Weber home. We don't actually talk about it. It's just understood that I wait outside while she runs in to do the data transfer. One afternoon, I'm standing there hoping Shoshana's mom doesn't glance out the window and turn the sprinklers on me, when I hear music coming from the house. It's piano, and I realize this must be Joel, Hiawassi's musical prodigy. Obviously, it isn't the first time I've heard him play. Aaron Bear and I were in the auditorium to watch our firecrackers go off, so we must have experienced at least a little of his music. But it's my first time in this new life. He's amazing. And not just because he plays fast without making mistakes. The notes flow like a river, speeding up, slowing down, changing in tone and texture. It's almost as if the piano is singing. I wish I knew more about music so I could really appreciate it. I'm crossing the lawn almost without realizing I'm putting one foot in front of the other. I'm following the sound, which seems to be coming from a side window. Before I know it, I'm at the bushes, peering inside. There's Joel, seated at a baby grand, lost in his performance. I'm almost overcome with shame. We took this kid's talent and made him a target because of it. When the attack comes, I'm totally caught off guard. A supernova of blonde fur launches itself at me, clamping its paws around my leg and burying its teeth in the denim of my jeans. With a cry of shock, I stagger back, toppling into a large barberry bush. As I go down, my face and arms are ripped to shreds by the stiff wooden branches and tiny thorns. The dog is smart enough to jump off before I hit the bush. It stands at the edge of the flower bed, yapping at me. The music stops and Joel appears in the window. When he spots me lying in the hedge, his eyes widen in shock. "It's not what you think," I blurt, even though the window is closed and he probably can't hear me. To Joel, this must look like his former tormentor is at it again, stalking him in his own home. How could I be so stupid? I try to get up out of the hedge, but every time I move, I get scratched and tangled even more. Plus, that agitates the dog, who starts howling. A moment later, Mrs. Weber marches across the lawn, tossing over her shoulder, "You must be mistaken, Joel. There's no way Chase Ambrose." She spies me then, and falls silent. Joel is next. See, I told you, it's him. I try to explain. I'm just waiting for Shoshana. We're going to visit Mr. Solway. And that's a reason to skulk in our bushes? Mrs. Weber demands icily. Technically, I'm doing more bleeding than skulking. But I just say, I heard the music, and then the dog. Mom? Shoshana's voice. What's going on? Shoshana backs up my story, which, according to Mrs. Weber, is the only reason they're not calling the cops. The two of them drag me out of the hedge, which is even more painful than going in. Good dog, Mitzi, is Joel's comment. I turn to Mrs. Weber. I'm sorry for the disturbance. I came closer to hear the music, and when the dog attacked, I fell in the bushes. I add to Joel, You're really good. He doesn't answer. His mother looks me over critically. You're bleeding. And then, I guess we can't let you walk around like that. She drags me into the kitchen and washes all my cuts and scratches with antiseptic. The good news is Mitzi's bite didn't break the skin. The bad news is every thorn and branch did. It's the worst agony I can remember since I fell off the roof. And I can't shake the feeling that Mrs. Weber is loving supplying it. It's the first time I've ever seen Joel smile. Even Shoshana is grinning a little, although she tries to disguise it as sympathy. I don't know what's worse, the pain or the reason they're enjoying watching me suffer. The next time I'm outside the Weber house, waiting for Shoshana to back up our work, I keep my distance. Joel's playing the piano again. I hear it, and I can actually see him at the keys through that side window. He glances up, spots me, and gets to his feet. I'm thinking, oh man, I'm in trouble now. He's going to sick the dog on me again, or worse, his mom. Then he does the last thing I ever expected. He reaches over, opens the window, and goes back to his practicing. If I didn't know better, I'd swear he wants me to listen. At school, lunch is turning into the most stressful part of my day. I've been alternating my cafeteria time. One day at the football table with Aaron, Bear, and the Hurricanes, and the next across the lunchroom with the video club. I take a lot of flack from the team who can't understand me hanging out with Dork Nation. I realize the players joke around a lot, but it's starting to sound less and less like joking. Even when I'm with the video club, it's awkward because Joel's there. We're not friends, but we both run with the same crowd. Usually I sit at one end of the table and Joel sits on the opposite side. One day, though, he comes late, and the only seat left is right next to me. At first, I think he's going to bolt for the far end of the cafeteria to make a statement that he'd rather eat in another zip code than sit beside me. And he does hesitate a little. Eventually, though, he gives in and sets his tray down next to mine. Everybody else is looking at us like there's about to be a major war, but nothing happens. Still, a couple of days later, the others make sure there's a spot for Joel nice and far away from me. None of this escapes the watchful attention of Aaron and Bear. I get that you hang out with the video dweebs now, Aaron tells me, but him? Joel Weber? It's thanks to him that we got put on community service. Yeah, and we never did anything to him, I retort sarcastically. Okay, fine, says Bear, but how are we supposed to know he was going to go crying to Mommy? We booby-trapped his piano in an auditorium full of people, I bark. I think his mommy would have noticed without him ratting us out. All right, you made your point, Aaron soothes. It wasn't the nicest thing to do, and we're paying the price for it, aren't we? It's over, forget it. And why Joel, huh? I go on. I know you think all the kids at this school who don't play football are either dweebs, wimps, or losers, but how's he different from everybody else? Because he's small? Because he's talented? Bear explodes. Why don't you ask yourself? You're the one who picked him. You used to be a fun guy, or did you forget that too? We did what we did because it was fun, and the more Weber lost his mind, the funner it was, especially to you. Did it feel great when we heard he was going to that other school? No, but by then we were headed for the Graybeard Motel, so who cared where they sent him? I can feel the color draining from my face. That might be the closest I'll ever get to understanding how my brain worked before the accident. I may not like it, but it's me. That afternoon, Shoshana and I finished the final edit on our entry for the contest. We've titled it Warrior. Neither of us can wait to play it for Mr. Solway, but we make the usual stop at the Weber home for Shoshana to back up our work. Like always, I wait on the lawn while Shoshana heads into the house. She pauses in the doorway and tosses a look over her shoulder. Aren't you coming? A million questions whirl through my head. Did I hear right? Is she kidding? Will her mom kill me? Her brother? Her dog? Yet somehow I know that if I ask any of them, I'll spoil it, and the opportunity will be lost forever. So I follow her into the house. Mrs. Weber sees me first. She stares at me for a second, and then goes back to the book she's reading. In the living room, Joel is at the piano as usual. He glances up at me, and the music comes to a momentary halt. He takes a long, hard look, and then goes back to his concerto. I'm not sure why, but I feel an odd surge of emotion, and have to swallow hard a couple of times. Even Mitzi wags her tail.
Chapter 19. Bear Bratsky. When the announcement comes that there's an assembly, we're all psyched. Why wouldn't we be? It's like a get-out-of-jail-free card for a whole morning of classes. What's the assembly about? Who knows? Who cares? In the auditorium, the big screen is set up. That means they'll be turning the lights out. The perfect chance to catch a nap for a guy who was playing video games until 3 last night. Aaron is way ahead of me. He drapes himself into his seat, his legs dangling over the back of the chair in front of him, his arms spread out wide. I fight my way in beside him and we wrestle for position. "Hey!" exclaims the loser in the row ahead of us, the one with Aaron's size 14 construction boot hanging over his shoulder. But when he sees who he's talking to, he gets real quiet, real fast. He and his friends wander off, looking for someplace else to sit. I flake out next to Aaron. "Wake me up when it's over," he mumbles, already half asleep. "You're the one who's going to be waking me," I retort, and we exchange a few rabbit punches before settling in for the big snooze fest. Then comes the surprise. The whole purpose of this assembly is so we can congratulate Chase Ambrose and Shoshana Weber for the amazing video they made for some stupid contest or other. That's all I need, to watch the principal and the teachers lining up to worship the kid who used to be just a guy like me until he fell on his head and suddenly became smart. It gets worse. We're not just going to worship the video, we're going to watch it. All 40 minutes. Well, forget sleeping now. I'm too ticked off. Even Aaron is sitting bolt upright, staring in outrage at Ambrose and the Weber chick on stage. The video starts. That's when my head really explodes. The thing is called Warrior, and it's about that geezer Solway, the meanest old Dumbledore in the entire Graybeard Motel. No wonder the two of them spent so much time with the guy. Beside me, I can practically see steam coming out of Aaron's ears. It's not enough for him to make us look like jerks by doing community service when he doesn't have to, he seethes. No, he has to make a documentary about the place so he can brag to the whole world. And with Shoshana Weber, from the same family that got us put on community service in the first place. And I thought that guy was my friend. But Solway, I demand. What's up with that? Yeah, he agrees. A whole museum full of ancient fossils, and they have to pick the nasty old crab who complains to the nurses if his cookie is off-center on the plate. That's not what I mean, and you know it, I hiss. Why him, huh? Not just any old Dumbledore. Solway. No way that's a coincidence. Chase doesn't know anything about that, Aaron reminds me. He's got amnesia. If he's got amnesia, I put in darkly. Sounds a little convenient to me. Well, he's got amnesia enough to forget that he's our boy, Aaron says bitterly. I nod. He used to play football. Now he doesn't. He says he's coming back, but I think he's just stringing us along. He's partnered up with a Weber, and he's even getting buddy-buddy with Joel Weber. He's making it impossible to get along with him. He acts like he's changed, but he's really just cutting us out. On the screen, there's a close-up photo of a gleaming Medal of Honor. In the voiceover, Shoshana explains that this isn't the actual medal Mr. Solway won. Mr. Wonderful Solway isn't just a hero. He's modest, too. He never wore the dumb thing because he didn't want people to feel bad that they don't have one. And over the years, he forgot where he put it. Yeah, right, I mutter. Shh, Aaron hisses. When it's finally over, Ambrose and the Weber chick get a 5-minute standing ovation. That burns me up, since I know for a fact that the other kids were just as bored as I was. They bring the whole video club up there because they helped. Ms. DeLeo reads out a letter from the head of the Greybeard Motel, thanking the filmmakers for their awesomeness and the school for having such awesome students. Puke. Aaron and I are sentenced to go to that place 3 days a week until we're practically old enough to check in there, and what do we get for it? Yelled at, that's what, by nurses and Dumbledores both. And Chase, who's worse than us, gets a love letter from the director. I've never been so happy to get back to a classroom. We can't just do nothing about this, I plead to Aaron as he takes the desk next to me. He's walking all over us, and we're letting him. For the very first time, he doesn't look at me like I'm crazy. I've got an idea how we can jog his memory. You know, remind him who his real friends are.